really, as a former collegiate athlete, what does this change on NIL mean for female athletes, especially considering that, like you pointed out, less than 1% of these women are going to go on to have professional careers. So having NIL in the collegiate space, what does that really do for female athletes?
Well, and let's add the other really interesting caveat to this, which is you have LSU women's basketball players making 3 times the salary of the best WNBA player. So not only, that's why, I mean, people go, we're so diverse. I played beach volleyball. The sport's this big. Nobody cares. Like, you had to do a million things and try to be good at it to make a career. Mm-hmm. Tennis is the only sport and be good at it. So for women, even that, like, the professional platform is still pretty rugged terrain.
Right.
And so I think that's the other interesting part is how do you go from college, and if you're the very best in college and you will go to the WNBA, the chances are you'll make more if you're that top group than you will as a professional. And so I find that part sort of interesting. And how do you kind of get the athlete around that? How do you keep them motivated? Because that's the other thing. Part of it is love for what you're doing, but the other part is like, then the next step is I'm a professional and then I do this. I'm curious to see what the athletes, how they're going to be incentivized when they're making all this money. But for any athlete, like I said, for me, for example, that's how I made my living.
Yeah.
I mean, NIL. I mean,
right.
I'm very excited going to Florida State. I saw a ton of athletes that were there that were very talented, that did bring a lot of money, male and female, to the university. And, they probably could barely afford to go to the movies. So that part is, really interests me because I know how hard the athletes work. But we were saying when I sat down, it is also so incredibly tricky when you're giving 18, 19, and 20-year-olds not only this responsibility, but the economics and possibly your largest earning time in your life when you're 20. That's a nightmare.
Yeah.
So I look at all of that and think also, I know you guys are attorneys, and so it's like, I always appreciate like scientists and attorneys when you talk to them other than about the letter of the law or the science. They're like, I don't even know what you're talking about. There's also some kind of nuance in here where if I was representing athletes, I would almost want to, like, if they had parents that you'd be like, hey, could we do a pay structure? Like they would just get dumped all their cash at one time and all these different things that maybe eventually would actually support them in the long run. I don't know.